In every cell of your body, whether in the brain orchestrating thought, the heart powering each beat, or the liver detoxifying thousands of molecules per second, there exists a tiny universe of energy, a universe with its own DNA, its own membranes, its own vulnerabilities, and its own astonishing capacity for renewal. This universe is the mitochondrion, the structure responsible for making the very energy of life, ATP. But what happens when mitochondrial function slows or becomes damaged? When toxins, infections, stress, or nutrient deficiencies break down the machinery of energy production? Today we're going deep into electron transport, oxidative phosphorylation, mitochondrial cofactors, thyroid hormone, carnitine shuttles, toxins, infection, DNA damage, and the emerging therapies, from ketogenic diets to red light to methylene blue, that may help restore this essential powerhouse. Before we get too deep into this topic, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This will help bring the truth about health and healing to the thousands of people who need to hear this message. Now back to the episode. Inside the inner mitochondrial membrane sits one of the most sophisticated engineering marvels in biology, the electron transport chain, beginning with complex 1, also known as NADH, ubiquinone oxidoreductase. When we metabolize food, carbohydrates, fats, or proteins, the breakdown funnels reducing equivalents into NADH. Complex 1 receives electrons from NADH, transferring them stepwise through iron-sulfur clusters and into ubiquinone CoQ10. But complex 1 is not simply a conduit, it's a transformer. As electrons flow, complex 1 pumps protons out of the mitochondrial matrix, creating the first layers of the proton gradient that will eventually drive ATP synthesis. Complex 1 is also the most vulnerable site of electron leakage. A prematurely leaked electron can react with oxygen, creating superoxide, a reactive oxygen species that, over time, can damage mitochondrial proteins, lipids, and DNA when antioxidant systems are overwhelmed. But this isn't inherently bad. A small amount of ROS is purposeful. It signals adaptation, growth, and mitochondrial biogenesis. It's only when the system becomes overwhelmed that damage begins. While complex 1 receives electrons from NADH, complex 2, succinate dehydrogenase, receives electrons from FADH2, produced mainly during fat oxidation. This is why healthy mitochondria love fat as a fuel source. It produces a steady stream of FADH2, feeding electrons into the chain without proton pumping. Complex 2 does not contribute to the gradient directly. Instead, it supports the overall flow of electrons toward ubiquinone. When complex 2 falters, fat metabolism slows, energy drops, and the cell becomes increasingly dependent on glucose. This phenomenon is frequently observed in metabolic syndrome, neurodegenerative disease, chronic fatigue states, thyroid disorders. A failing complex 2 means a failing capacity to burn fat, and that fundamentally reshapes human metabolism. Complex 3, cytochrome BC1 complex, is where electrons jump onto cytochrome C, moving closer to oxygen, the final acceptor. This complex performs the Q cycle, a brilliant biochemical choreography that doubles the number of protons pumped compared to the electrons received, but it comes at a price. Complex 3 is another major site of reactive oxygen species generation. Under states of inflammation, infection, or meltdown of the membrane potential, electrons stall, and stalling electrons leak. When this happens chronically, complex 3 becomes a generator of oxidative stress, damaging cardiolipin, a membrane lipid essential for mitochondrial structure, enzymes of the respiratory chain, mitochondrial DNA. This sets the stage for the downward spiral of mitochondrial dysfunction, often seen in aging, chronic disease, and toxin exposure. Complex 4, cytochrome C oxidase, is where oxygen becomes water. This is the step that makes life on Earth possible. 4 electrons combine with oxygen and 4 protons to create water, a moment of biochemical alchemy that maintains the proton gradient needed for ATP formation, but complex 4 is exquisitely sensitive to hypoxia, cyanide, carbon monoxide, mold mycotoxins, heavy metals, chronic inflammation. When complex 4 activity slows, ATP output crashes, even if earlier complexes remain intact. This bottleneck effect creates fatigue, muscle weakness, brain fog, and in severe cases, organ dysfunction. Here's a key insight. Complex 4 is also stimulated by near-infrared red light, which increases its electron flow capacity, making it a cornerstone of mitochondrial supportive therapies. ATP synthase, complex 5, is where the magic becomes measurable. Protons flow back into the mitochondrial matrix through its channel, spinning the enzyme like a turbine, generating ATP from ADP plus phosphate. Every day, your mitochondria recycle your body weight in ATP every single day. But ATP synthase is sensitive to membrane damage, mitochondrial swelling, loss of membrane potential, mitochondrial DNA mutations, excess ROS. When ATP synthase slows, the entire organism slows, metabolically, cognitively, hormonally. Fatty acids cannot enter mitochondria without help. That help is carnitine. The carnitine shuttle transfers long-chain fatty acids across the mitochondrial membrane via 3 steps. CPT1 attaches carnitine to fatty acids, forming acylcarnitine. CACT transports acylcarnitine across the membrane. CPT2 regenerates the fatty acid inside, ready for beta-oxidation. When this system fails due to nutrient deficiency, genetics, medications, thyroid issues, or toxicity, fat oxidation plummets, and so does mitochondrial output. Carnitine deficiency is associated with muscle fatigue, hypoglycemia, impaired detoxification, cardiac dysfunction, neurological decline. Restoring carnitine is one of the most direct ways to enhance mitochondrial energy production. Thyroid hormone, especially T3, regulates the speed of mitochondrial metabolism. T3 increases number of mitochondria, activity of the electron transport chain, membrane potential, fat oxidation, oxygen consumption. Hypothyroidism dramatically slows ATP production. Hyperthyroidism accelerates it to the point of potential oxidative overload. Without sufficient thyroid hormone, no treatment, dietary or supplemental, can fully restore mitochondrial power. Mitochondria require a suite of nutrients to function optimally. Cofactors and their function. CoQ10 is an electron carrier between complexes 1 and 2 to 3. NAD+ is essential for complex 1 and sirtuin-mediated repair. Riboflavin B2 forms FAD and FADH2 for complex 2. Niacin B3 is a precursor for NAD+ and NADH. Magnesium is required for ATP stability. Magnesium ATP. Alpha lipoic acid is an antioxidant and cofactor for pyruvate dehydrogenase. L-carnitine is needed for fat transport and beta-oxidation. PQQ stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis. A deficiency in even one of these cofactors can bottleneck the entire respiratory chain. Mitochondria are uniquely vulnerable to damage because they sit at the heart of ROS production, have limited DNA repair mechanisms, have no protective histones, face constant exposure to metabolic byproducts. Mitochondrial DNA damage leads to impaired protein synthesis for electron transport chain components, resulting in malfunctioning complexes. Membrane damage, especially to cardiolipin, destabilizes complexes 1 to 4, collapsing ATP synthesis. Culprits include heavy metals, mercury, lead, mold toxins, ochratoxin, aflatoxin, pesticides, viral infections, bacterial endotoxin, chronic stress, processed seed oils, oxidized PUFAs. Once membrane lipids oxidize, The electron transport chain becomes unstable, leaky, and inefficient. Many pathogens directly target mitochondria. Viruses hijack mitochondrial membranes to evade immunity. Intracellular bacteria can downregulate complex 1 and complex 4. Mold mycotoxins impair fatty acid transport and deplete carnitine. Environmental toxicants inhibit complex 4 or damage mitochondrial DNA. The result is bioenergetic collapse. This is why symptoms of chronic infections, fatigue, cognitive slowing, temperature dysregulation are often symptoms of mitochondrial distress. Here are some treatments and emerging therapies. 1. Ketogenic diet. Ketones, especially beta-hydroxybutyrate, increase mitochondrial efficiency and reduce ROS. Upregulate antioxidant enzymes, SOD2, catalase. Increase mitochondrial biogenesis. Provide more ATP per oxygen molecule compared to glucose. This is why ketogenic strategies are used in neurology, metabolic disorders, and mitochondrial disease. 2. Red light therapy. Near infrared 660 to 850 nanometers. Red light directly stimulates complex 4, enhancing electron flow, ATP production, nitric oxide release, antioxidant activity, tissue repair. It is one of the most evidence-based mitochondrial therapies available. 3. Methylene blue. A redox active molecule that transfers electrons efficiently within the electron transport chain. Acts as an alternative electron carrier, reduces ROS. Enhances cognitive function in clinical studies. Protects mitochondrial membranes and mitochondrial DNA. In low doses, methylene blue acts like a metabolic tuning molecule. 4. Exercise, HIIT, and resistance training. Exercise is mitochondrial medicine. It stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, NAD plus upregulation, improved fatty acid oxidation, membrane repair, hormonal optimization. 5. Targeted cofactor support. Supplementation with NAD plus precursors, CoQ10, riboflavin, magnesium, and carnitine can restore missing links in the energy chain. 6. Removing toxicants and treating infections. Energy cannot be restored until the underlying insults are removed. This includes detoxification support, mold remediation, antimicrobial strategies, and liver-focused nutrition. Mitochondria are not just the powerhouses of the cell, they are the gatekeepers of health, aging, cognition, immunity, and vitality. When we protect them, nourish them, and support their repair, the body comes alive. Energy returns, clarity returns, life returns, because healing at its deepest level is mitochondrial. If today's journey helped you understand your body and your energy more deeply, then take a moment to support this channel. Like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs mitochondrial healing. Your engagement helps bring this kind of science to millions of people who've never been told why they're tired or how they can heal. Tell me in the comments, what part of mitochondrial healing are you most excited to explore? For more information about our clinic, please go to drvictoriamunoz.com or see link in description below. We have helped thousands of people regain their health and vitality, and we can help you. Join us next time for another deep dive into the complex world of medical science. I am Dr. Victoria Muñoz. Until next time, take care.